Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really zeroing in on the world of learning English. It's fascinating, but, often pretty challenging.
hmm We've been looking closely at the script from a podcast called Breaking the Language Barrier. It featured host Emma Williams and an applied linguist, Dr. Michael Chen.
Right. And our goal here isn't just to summarize it.
No, definitely not. We want to pull out the key strategies, the real insights from their conversation.
And unpack them for you.
Exactly. Sort of like a shortcut, to figure out the best ways to boost your English, whatever your level is right now.
We're aiming for advice that's practical, stuff you can use straight away.
Yeah, without getting bogged down in super academic jargon.
Okay, so let's start by unpacking some of those main hurdles. The things English learners often run into, which Emma and Dr. Chen talked about. Pronunciation came up right away. That's something I know a lot of learners find, really tricky.
Yeah, and it can make you feel a bit vulnerable, can it?
Totally.
But what's really interesting, and Dr. Chen, he really nailed this, pronunciation isn't just about the physical side, like moving your mouth right.
Okay.
There's also this huge perception piece. Your brain actually has to learn to hear sounds that might not even be in your native language.
Right. They had that great example. Japanese speakers finding the R and L sounds tough to tell apart.
Exactly.
It's not just about where you put your tongue, is it?
Not at all, no.
Okay.
Because in Japanese, that difference between R and L, it doesn't change a word's meaning.
Ah, okay.
So linguists call sounds that do change meaning phones. For Japanese speakers, since R and L aren't separate phones, their brains aren't really wired initially to even register that difference as important.
I see.
And, understanding that, the sort of brain science behind it, it can really change how you think about pronunciation problems.
Yeah.
It makes it less about oh, I'm not trying hard enough.
Right, and more about retraining your ear, essentially.
Exactly. It's a fascinating process.
That does make it feel a bit less personal, doesn't it? Less like you're just failing at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the other big challenge they brought up early on was vocabulary. Just the sheer number of words in English.
Oh, yeah. Vocabulary overload.
It can feel like you're drowning in words sometimes.
Absolutely. And that leads to a really key question for you as a learner. With all these words, how do you even approach learning them?
Right.
Dr. Chen really stressed you need a structured way to do it. Just, memorizing random lists. That often doesn't work well long term. It's not very effective.
Okay, so we've got these key challenges. Pronunciation being about hearing and speaking, and then this huge vocabulary mountain. So let's shift now. Let's talk about the concrete strategies, the practical things Dr. Chen suggested for actually getting past these hurdles.
Okay, yeah. Let's start with pronunciation. What can you actually do?
What helps?
Well, one really useful technique is minimal pairs practice.
Minimal pairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this means focusing on pairs of words that sound almost the same, but differ by just one sound. Think like ship and sheep.
Ah, okay. The short I and the long E.
Exactly. The idea is to really train your ear first to hear that tiny difference, and then, of course, to practice making the sounds correctly yourself.
Makes sense.
And he emphasized using clearer audio recordings, native speakers, and just repeating them. Lots of repetition.
So it's very focused listening and practice.
Right. Auditory discrimination, basically.
Got it. And the other technique they mentioned was shadowing. That sounds different.
It is, yeah. It's quite immersive. Shadowing isn't just basic repetition.
Okay.
You listen to a native speaker, and then you try to repeat what they're saying almost at the same time. Like your voice is their shadow.
Whoa, okay. So right after them.
Pretty much simultaneously or with a tiny delay. And the key thing here isn't just getting the words right. You're really trying to copy their intonation, the ups and downs in their voice, and the rhythm, the overall flow, the music of the language, basically.
Mimicking the whole sound package, not just the vocabulary.
Exactly.
Okay, so for pronunciation, minimal pairs for specific sounds, and shadowing for the bigger picture, the flow.
Good summary.
Now, what about climbing that vocabulary mountain? What were the strategies there?
Dr. Chen gave two really powerful ones. First up, spaced repetition systems, SRS.
SRS, I think I've heard of that, like Anki.
Anki's a perfect example, yeah. And the cool thing about SRS, it's based on how our brains actually learn.
How so?
Well, it uses something called the forgetting curve. The software shows you a new word, and then it brings it back just when you're about to forget it.
Oh, clever.
Yeah. So by showing it to you at these increasing intervals, it forces your brain to retrieve it, which really strengthens the memory.
So it's not just cramming.
No, it's optimizing recall. Makes things stick much better long term.
That sounds way more efficient. Okay, what was the second vocab strategy?
Contextual learning.
Learning in context. Makes sense.
Yeah, basically encountering new words as part of something meaningful. So
Hmm.
Dr. Chen suggested things like reading graded readers.
Books written for language learners.
Exactly, at different levels. Or watching videos, maybe with subtitles on.
Okay.
When you see a word used in a sentence or connected to what's happening visually, it just clicks much better.
Right, you understand how it's actually used.
Precisely. It helps with understanding and remembering. You're not just learning a definition from a list. You're seeing the word live doing its job.
Seeing it in its natural habitat, so to speak.
Exactly. Much more effective.
That really does make a lot of intuitive sense. Okay, switching gears slightly.
Mm-hmm.
They also talked about confidence, which, gosh, can be such a huge barrier for learners, right?
Oh, absolutely massive. Even if your grammar and vocab are pretty good.
Yeah.
So Dr. Chen really highlighted the need for safe practice spaces.
Safe spaces.
Meaning environments where you feel comfortable trying out your English without feeling judged or like the stakes are really high.
Okay, low pressure zones.
Exactly. He suggested things like language exchange groups, online forums where people are supportive. Great example.
Places you can just try things out, make mistakes, and it's okay.
Precisely. And tied right into that is rethinking mistakes.
House.
Instead of seeing errors as like failures.
Which is easy to do.
Totally. He encourages you to see them as valuable feedback, information, basically. Every mistake shows you something you need to work on, an area to maybe refine your understanding.
So errors are learning opportunities.
Yes. And shifting your mindset like that, it can do wonders for your confidence and your motivation, too.
That's a really positive way to frame it. Very empowering. Okay, so we've looked at the challenges. We've looked at some really practical strategies. Now, let's dig into some specific questions that came up from listeners of that original podcast. Questions I bet a lot of you listening have wondered about, too.
Sounds good.
First one was from Sarah in Brazil. She asked about how to train your ear to understand all the different English accents out there.
Ah, yeah. That's a great question. So relevant.
Definitely. What was the advice?
Dr. Chen's main advice was active immersion. You need to deliberately expose yourself to a wide variety of Englishes.
So listen to lots of different stuff.
Exactly. He mentioned seeking out podcasts from different places, like the BBC for British English, NPR for American, maybe the ABC for Australian.
What?
And also movies, YouTube channels, people from all over the English-speaking world.
Just get that variety into your ears. Different rhythms, different sounds.
Precisely. But he also suggested a smart way to approach it.
Which was?
Start maybe with transcripts available. Use them to help you understand.
Ah, like training wheels.
Kind of, yeah. Then, as your ear gets better, as you get more used to an accent, you gradually rely less on the subtitles or the transcript.
Phase them out.
Right. It's a step-by-step process. Needs patience, consistent listening.
That sounds very doable, a good gradual approach to tuning your ear.
Okay.
Next question. This one is from Alex in Germany. How do you keep your motivation up for the long run?
Uh-huh. The motivation question. Every learner hits this at some point.
I think so, yeah. It's hard to stay enthusiastic forever.
Totally. So Dr. Chen's advice here was really practical, focused on building habits that last.
Okay.
He talked about setting small, achievable micro goals.
Micro goals, like what?
Well, his example was aim to learn, say, 5 new collocations each week.
Collocations, words that go together often.
Exactly. Like make a decision or heavy rain, just 5 a week. And then, crucially, celebrate when you hit that small goal.
Acknowledge the small wins.
Yes. That gives you a little boost, keeps the momentum going. It feels much less daunting than some huge, far-off target.
Yeah, focusing on consistent progress, not giant leaps.
Right. And his other tip, which I thought was really clever,
Yeah.
was to weave English into things you already enjoy. Your hobbies, your interests.
How would that work?
So if you love cooking, find some cooking channels on YouTube that are in English. Follow their recipes.
Or if you're into tech.
Read tech blogs in English. Whatever your passion is, find ways to engage with it through English.
Ah, so learning becomes part of your fun time, not just study time.
Exactly. It feels less like a chore, more natural, and that's way more sustainable for motivation long term.
That is smart. Makes it feel less like work. Okay, wow, we've covered a lot today, drawing on all those insights from Emma Williams and Dr. Chen.
Yeah, lots of good stuff in their conversation.
Let's just quickly recap those key takeaways, just to make sure they stick.
Good idea. So for pronunciation, Remember minimal pairs for those specific, tricky sounds.
Right. And shadowing for the overall rhythm and intonation.
Mm-hmm. And then for vocabulary.
Use those spaced repetition systems like Anki for efficient memorization.
Yeah, leverage that forgetting curve.
Yeah.
And learn words in context reading, watching stuff you understand.
See them in action.
Exactly. And finally, confidence and motivation.
Find or create those safe spaces where you feel okay practicing.
Definitely. And really try to reframe mistakes, see them as feedback, not failure.
And set those small, achievable micro goals. Celebrate the wins.
Don't underestimate those small wins. They add up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's maybe a final thought for you to take away and mull over.
Okay.
Just think about applying maybe one of these techniques consciously. Just pick one. How could that change your English learning journey?
Yeah.
What's one small, consistent habit you could realistically start, maybe even today, based on what we've talked about?
Food for thought.
Definitely. Thanks for diving deep with us today.